once you hear these, you can't unhear them. And once you hear these, you really have no excuse because they are very, very, very basic. So don't let the simplicity of them ruin really the genius of them. And I'm not saying I'm genius. I'm just saying the concepts are genius because they really do work. But many times people look at them and they're like, oh, yawn, yeah, right. And they don't look at them as seriously as they should because they really have a limited view of how really the universe works and how just the physical possibilities of the universe really work, because these are based on really, based on science. And many times a lot of the stuff in science or things we think are mythological and so on haven't been proven yet, And when they're proven, they become science. But they're based on a lot of scientific principles, and I'll try to really do it as quickly as possible. And normally something to get really super in depth would take a number of hours to really kind of get the baseline and then kind of build it layer by layer up from there. But these concepts have been mentioned and spoke about and written about for thousands of years. And, scholars often argue about so many different things, but these concepts, I think, universally are accepted as real. And if you want to get to the highest point in your life, psychologically, financially, spiritually, all these different types of things, then you really have to go and start to work on these things. And people that are multimillionaires, billionaires, all agree with these types of things. The Fords, the Rockefellers, Napoleon Hills, it's like thousands of people, and they all agree on these things. And success leaves clues. So if they're doing these, then don't you think that we should follow by their example, right? So without further ado, these are our 28 success tips that actually changed my life. A little kind of backstory on this is that I started network marketing in 1990. As soon as I got started, within 30 days, my sponsor quit. Their sponsor quit, and their sponsor quit, and as has happened to many people. However, I didn't quit, and many people, as soon as their sponsor quits or they get a dud sponsor or whatever, they're like, well, not for me, it must be a scam, I'm out of here. And they, in turn, leave, and they base their success or failure on outside forces other than themselves, right, and other people. And so life is always happening to them instead of life happening as them. And I took leadership of my decision to join, because my decision to join wasn't based on my sponsor. It was based on the merits of the program I was joining at the time. And as I learned in the military as a sergeant in the Marines, is that, leaders find answers. And if the answer's not there, I'll find it. If a training manual is not there, I'm going to make one. That type of thing. So it's taking responsibility for the decisions that you make and not putting the excuse as to why you're going to fail, the excuse as to why you made that decision on other people and other things. And so if you take responsibility, then I think you're on the right track of being able to get to the next level as far as whatever your next level is, okay? So success tip number 1, if you can dream it, you can do it. Okay, the concept here is that thoughts are things, ideas are the spark of the divine speaking in you. It's up to you to make it real. What do I mean by that? Thoughts become things. You create things twice, first in your mind. Okay, you create it twice, first in your mind as an idea, which is energy or spirit or however you want to look at it. Okay, I'm not going to go into, I don't think we have time to get into how you get this idea, but it's an energy signature in your brain, right? It's your brain is just like a radio. It's not you, but you are the collection of electrical impulses in your brain. That's you. That's your spirit, right? So you in turn have an idea. okay? Basically, it comes from outside you to you, from the universe, without kind of going into detail on that. But you get the idea. If you decide that you want to go forward with this idea, you have to act on that idea. You have to anchor that idea, because if you don't anchor that idea, it's going to be a fleeting idea, and one of these New Year's Day / week / maybe a month resolutions, and it's gone because you don't anchor it. Okay, you have to anchor it. How do you anchor it? Well, you take actions and thoughts, and basically you feed that dream or that idea. And if you feed that dream or idea, it starts to anchor and basically grow roots. And it grows roots and becomes resident in your conscious and subconscious. And basically, the more you feed it, the faster it's going to grow. Now, I can't tell you how long it's going to take for you to give birth to that dream. And yes, guys, even guys can give birth. And I'm talking about dreams. I've had dreams and ideas that took me 40 years to give birth, and I finally did. And I've had dreams that I gave birth in a day or 2 days or a week. So the main thing is that whatever dream you have, let's just say you have a dream to have a successful online business that makes 6 figures, okay? You have to eat, sleep, drink, and breathe that business, okay? You have to do whatever it takes, and as Napoleon Hill says, you have to have a white-hot burning desire to make it reality. So the first step is always to have the dream, to feed it, and take the necessary actions to make sure it anchors and residence in your subconscious and conscious. Eventually, the universe conspires in your favor, and you give birth to that dream, and it becomes physical. Okay, so it's going from the spiritual / mental to the physical realm, and that's basically what you can see. So Michelangelo says, I saw the angel in the rock, and I chiseled and set him free, or something to that effect. Okay? So he imagined it first, and then he made it physical. That's what artists do, right? They imagine it first, and then they, in turn, make it physical. You can actually think into your emerging future and pull from your future to your present to make things happen. Okay? Sounds strange, but it's kind of spoken about in one of the 6 intellectual faculties in Think and Grow Rich, the faculty of imagination. You can think into your future, into what we call your emerging future. That means your future that is starting to become real, hasn't become real yet, and we as human beings have this ability to do that. No other animals can do that. We can do that. We can think into our future as to what is the house that we'd like to purchase, what color is the carpet, what color bushes does it have, what color pool does it have, what color shingles, how does it feel, all these different types of things. These are what you're pulling into your brain, into your imagination, and you're pulling from that dream, right? You're pulling from that future, and you're making it an emerging future. You're pulling it into your present to become your future, okay? So that one concept I can go into on a whole hour to 2 hours on one concept. It is fascinating. It is fascinating. So thoughts are things, ideas are the spark of the divine speaking in you, okay? Speaking in you. It's up to you to make it real. Success tip number 2, if you don't have a dream, you're going no place fast. You're spinning your wheels into nowhere land, right? Your dreams start off pretty lofty, and then they get realistic over time. What you need to do is to reactivate your dream muscle. What happens as you get older and you don't use your muscles? Your muscles get what they call atrophy, and your muscles start to shrink. The muscle tissue starts to deteriorate because you don't use it. What you don't use, you lose. And the same thing goes for your dreams. The same thing goes for your thinking and your mental capacity, okay? Even love and all these different types of things. If you don't use it, you lose it. So if you're in a relationship with someone, what I urge you to do is to start expressing things of love, both mentally and physically, to the other person that you're with. And that is a muscle that you have to express. The same thing as your dream, right? And basically it says your dream starts off lofty. When we're younger, we have these dreams. I'm going to become an astronaut. I'm going to become this. Because we can do anything when we're younger. But you become domesticated, like a puppy. You become domesticated, and the stallion goes away, and you become docile. Okay. The same thing with your dream. Over time, it starts to get more and more realistic. The problem is that we reach our dream, because our dream has now become so low that, hey, we can reach our dream. The problem is that, we have brought it down so close to us that we're actually going to hit it, right? It's not far enough out there where we can actually reach it and try to reach it. So even if it's far enough out there and you're trying to reach it and you miss, you're so far beyond where the dream would be if you kind of made it docile and you actually hit it, right? So you don't actually have to reach your dream to progress. So I would rather reach for my dream that's lofty and miss it than hit a dream that is very, very low, okay? Because I will be so far ahead of anybody else, okay? And you know what? I might even hit it, okay? So success tip number 2, if you don't have a dream, you're going no place fast, and you're going to sleepwalk through life, and life becomes boring, okay? Very, very boring. Your dreams start off lofty, and they get realistic over time. And here's the line: reactivate your dream muscle, and think of everything that you're doing as a muscle, okay? As a muscle. Success tip number 3, discover your unique super ability. Everybody has a super ability, okay? Whether you like it or not, and when you think, I don't have a super ability, yes, you do. Maybe you just forgot about it. And you don't have to have a super ability that beats 7 million or 7 billion people on the planet. Your super ability could just be better than 2 million people on the planet, and it's better than 2 million people on the planet, and that's your super ability, right? So it's also known as your superpower. We all have it, and again, you probably just forgot that you have some kind of ability. And guess what? You don't necessarily have to be born with a super ability. You can cultivate that, right? And as long as you do it with a white-hot burning desire to focus on whatever you want that super ability to be, and you can have a super ability of being a people person, right? You can have a super ability of being a servant leader, or a giving person, or see what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be a super ability like something physical, because as physical beings, we tend to think of everything that has to be physical. Right? A super ability could be something mental or something spiritual or something that you can't touch but is still measurable. Okay? So let's go on to super success tip number 4. Be authentically you. Be authentically you. So many times we try to be other people, and especially in the times we're in right now in social media and Instagram and Pinterest, we're seeing picture glimpses of people's lives, and it looks so fantastic when the rest of their life could be for shit, right? Don't worry about stuff like that. Be you, because you're special, and you're a unique creature in a universe of possibilities. You be yourself, then guess what happens? You have to watch the magic happen. Be yourself, because you are unique, and people will respond to that because they'll see that you're genuine and you're authentic. And again, I can stick in there being professional with people. I like to kind of be known as I'm very approachable. Okay, what you see is what you get. Okay, I'm not fake. I will tell you like it is, that type of thing. Okay, so if you're authentically you, I think people respect that. Success tip number 5. Nothing is going to change unless I change. Nothing is going to change unless I change. You are the center of your own universe, right? You have to. The purpose of life is to grow. If you are stagnant, it's not going to work, right? You have to have movement, right? You have to vibrate, right? In this everything vibrates basically, right? Everything from the smallest molecule to the largest atoms and so on, and buildings and tables and lights, and we all vibrate to some extent, okay? So, and change is basically that you need to vibrate and make waves, and the purpose of life is growth. And so whether that growth is relationship-wise, spiritual-wise, physical-wise, digital business-wise, network marketing-wise, whatever it happens to be, you have to make sure that you know that you are the causal factor of your change. Most people, I would say 97% of the public, they don't know what the law of laws, as Emerson said, which is cause and effect. They don't realize this. And they are acting on the effect side of the cause and effect equation. They're sitting there, okay, and things are happening to them, and they're constantly reacting to the movement of other news and other people and other things, and they're allowing that to dictate their lives. They're in constant reactionary mode. But we as entrepreneurs, if you understand that there's a cause and effect going out there of almost everything, and you can be the causal factor, you can be a producer instead of a receiver, right? Instead of being an audience person, you could create the music. And I'm not saying real music, unless that's what you want to do, but I'm saying you could be a creator of your own business or whatever it happens to be. Stick whatever it is in that causal part, and you could be that causal factor because you are the causal factor of your own business. Remember I said before about when I first started, my sponsor quit, their sponsor quit, and then I decided to keep on going because that was my decision, because I am the causal factor of the decision in which I made to be able to come into a business. And no matter what else happened, I was going to find out what the answers were because I knew that I was the causal factor of my results, okay? So I have to be the cause of my change. I have to be the cause of my change. Yes, you can have arbitrary things happen, random things happen outside of you that happen, and that happens with everybody. You know, it's that lottery effect things. Things happen by chance sometimes. But by and large, you have to be the cause of your own change because everything starts with you, right? So you have to say to yourself, everything starts with me. It starts with me, okay? And then take the necessary steps to make that happen. Okay, so let's go to success tip number 6. This is a biggie. Take 100% responsibility. Okay. Let me go back to, say, relationship. If I was to ask a couple, what responsibility was it that your marriage failed? Some people would say, well, it's 50% my responsibility, 50% her responsibility. When the answer really is, it's 100% your responsibility and it's 100% her responsibility, right? You have to take 100% responsibility of your success, your failure, of your business. Everybody here on this line are entrepreneurs. You take 100% responsibility of your business. It's no one else's fault but my own for my failure and my success. You look in the mirror and it's your fault. It's your fault that you're successful, and it's your fault that you're not successful. If you start out January 1st and say, listen, I'm going to make $250,000 this year, and you make $50,000, whose fault is it? It's your fault, probably because you were doing $50,000 a year work and not $250,000 a year work. And that's when we go into time management in some other session. Success tip number 7, nothing magical will happen outside. So many people are waiting for this entitlement. I'm entitled to this, I'm entitled to that. That's people waiting on the outside for things to happen instead of taking responsibility for the inside. So these are kind of related, number 6 and number 7. Nothing magical, there's no magic. There's no magic button. Nothing magic is going to happen on the outside. You have to change inside, right? If you keep waiting for outside magic, you're going to wait a lifetime. And as luck would have it, you may have something happen, but who wants to live on hopium? Hope is going to happen. Hope this is going to happen. And you sit there and you wait and wait and wait. Before you know it, you're dead. That's not the way to live your life. and it's certainly not a way to run your online business. Success tip number 8, it's going to take courage, right? It's going to take courage because success is always uphill, and you're always going to trip and fall. You're always going to get burnt. You're going to get burnt. Things are going to happen, and you're going to lose money sometimes. It happens. So you have to take the next step knowing that it will probably not work out as planned. There's always a plan A and a plan B and a plan C, right? So you do it, and then you adjust. And when Victor comes on later on, he talks a lot about split advertising, split testing. You try this one, okay, let's measure it. Try this one, okay, let's measure it. How did it do to the control? Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And what you do during that process, you get better every time, right? So, but doing that process, you're going to lose money. But what's going to happen is you're going to find a way that it does work, and then you step on the gas, right? But the process during that process, as far as losing money, is you don't lose all your money. Don't lose all your money. When you lose small, right? But you're measuring, and you're measuring, and you're measuring, and you find out what works, and then you step on the gas. But you got to have courage during this process because it's painful. It's painful. Number 9, true abundance is when you go from greed to gratitude. Greed to gratitude. When I first did my first 8 or 9 years online in network marketing, I wasn't greedy. I just thought it was all about making a sale. I said, okay, in order to make money, I got to make the sale, right? And when I went to gratitude and just being thankful for what's happening, right? Stop focusing on the money and focus on helping people, being the first servant leader. How can I help more people? And then I said, well, maybe I can help more people by creating a system that can multiply the effect of helping more people and allow them to help more people, which allows them to help more people. And over the past 22 years, we've helped over 2 million people, right? And so by not focusing on the money, I helped on just solving their problem. And most of the time, people's problems were income-related problems. We helped solve their problem, and they in turn earned money, and then I earned a little bit, right? So that's a huge tip. True abundance is when you go from greed to gratitude. Now remember, you got to remember, there's no scarcity. There is no scarcity. You have to go from an attitude of scarcity to an attitude of abundance. Abundance. It's like a radio dial. There's different frequencies. There's a frequency of scarcity. There's a frequency of abundance. There's a frequency of poverty, and there's a frequency of wealth and abundance, right? You just have to turn into that one frequency, but most people don't even know that they can turn the dial. They're stuck on poverty, scarcity, and these types of things. And all they have to do is turn the dial to a different frequency. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Same thing with radio and music. You could be stuck on sports radio. I'm not saying that's bad or good, but you can turn it a little bit and have country, a little bit have rap, a little bit have opera or whatever, classical, top 40, right? So you have the choice to be able to turn this around and just go to a different frequency of thought. So appreciate what you have and make more, right? And make this all welcome in your life instead of trying to go after it. It's like you don't have to necessarily go after and get it. You make it welcome. We'll talk about that in a little bit, okay? You make it welcome, and these vibrational frequencies, as I talk about in my book, Vibrational Riches, these vibrational frequencies exist. You ever hear of law of attraction, right? They exist, and you in turn just have to tap into them so they actually come to you. Success tip number 10, you have to believe. Believe in yourself. You got to think to yourself, why can't I do it? Why not? Why not me? This guy's going over there to Egypt, and he's going traveling around to the rest of the other parts of the world. Why can't I do that? If they can do that, why can't I do it? Wallace D. Wattles, in his book, The Science of Getting Rich, says there's really no difference between people that make it and people that don't, the rich and the poor. It's that the rich just do things in a very specific way. They think in a very specific way. They take action in a very specific way. And the poor and the unenlightened don't have a clue. So you have to find out what this very specific way is and duplicate that. And it's not as hard as you think, okay? Not as hard as you think. So success tip number 11, if you're afraid of failure, you're never going to try success. A big problem in our schools these days is it's all about the test. It's all about the next test because they're afraid of failure. They're afraid of getting wrong answers because it all counts toward the test because it makes the teachers look good, it makes the school look good, and they want to get the highest mark possible. It's not necessarily about learning. It's about getting the highest mark on the test. So same thing in your business. If you're afraid to fail sometimes, you're not going to try anything new, right? If you're afraid to contact this lead or this person or that contact person because you might get rejected, guess what? You're never going to try success. You're never going to be successful. You have to be not worried about what they're going to say because people are just passing through. And you're never going to find those people that change your life if you're afraid to even talk to people. So failure is part of being successful. And in Chinese terms, it's the yin and the yang. You can't have one without the other. So embrace it. And if you think about this, Darren Hardy has a story where he was selling real estate. He was the former publisher of Success Magazine. And he spoke to a guy that was selling crazy numbers in real estate. He says, listen, just tell me what to do about being successful in real estate. And the guy says, listen, go out and fail as much as possible. Get as many rejections as you possibly can, and you'll be successful. And that's what he did. He had challenges about who in the office can get the most rejections, who in the office can get the most incredibly embarrassing rejection story that they can have, and they give him a prize. What about in your group? What if you had challenges like that, right? Anybody in my group, who can get the most rejections, they get a prize, right? Who can get the craziest, most embarrassing rejection, they get super prize. Because you know that the more rejections they get, the more signups they're going to get, which means everybody makes more money. So it's in a direct proportion to each other. Number 12, understand that there is no scarcity. There is no scarcity. Go from what we call competition mindset, where you're all competing. Like in the biz-op market, you're kind of competing with each other. There's plenty to go around. Right? Go to a creation mindset. I'm going to create myself as a world-class sponsor. And when you're a world-class sponsor, there is no scarcity. There's no competition because I'm a unique person, as we said prior. Number 13, again, I'm going to burn this one into you guys. Believe in yourself. And if you don't have belief in yourself at the beginning because you're just not sure, borrow my belief, borrow Victor's belief, because we have plenty. I have lots of references for success. I know that this stuff works. I've seen it hundreds of thousands of times. I know it works. Borrow my belief. I got excess, right? And then once you develop your own belief, then okay, then you share it with your people. Because at the beginning, you might not have it all. There's always a little bit of doubt that creeps up in there. But you have to believe in yourself, right? You have to believe in your ability and your worth, right? And then your income is going to start to skyrocket according to your belief. Number 14, when you spend your time with, who you spend your time with is who you become. You're the average of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. How many times you heard that? It's called the law of proximity, right? It's powerful, both good and bad, right? Because like attracts like, right? And negative attracts negative. So if you're around people and mental prowesses that are negative, scarcity, poverty mindset, guess what's going to happen? You are not going to break free. You're not going to break free. So you have to change the proximity of my nephew was in a situation where he just would hang around with people and his friends, and they would just drink, and that's all they did. And what I did is I yanked him out of that, and I took him to a John Maxwell event in Florida a number of years ago, and I exposed him to other possibilities of other types of thinking and other types of people that totally thought totally different than just doing what he was doing. And guess what happened? He says, listen, I ain't never going back, right? he got out of where he was, and he moved out of New York, moved to Florida, and got his degree in accounting, and he married a beautiful woman, and good to go. Okay? But he would have never gotten out of there if I didn't do that. Sometimes you have to show people the possibilities of what's available to them. And that's why going to events, getting now it's virtual events until we go back to the live events. But if you go to live events, great. That's even better. But go to as many events as possible and siphon off the energy of those people that are making money, right? And try to see if you can connect with the way they're thinking to be able to change the way you're thinking, because, again, like attracts like. And eventually it's going to rub off with yourself. Number 15, the day before something is a breakthrough, it's just a crazy idea. The day before something's a breakthrough, it's just a crazy idea. Ask Steve Jobs, ask Elon Musk, and ask him if that's true. Yeah, they'll say yes, because true innovation starts with the unconventional thought. Victor and I, we do this all the time. We bounce ideas back and forth, back and forth. This sucks. Most of it's just harebrained, crazy, stupid ideas. But sometimes we hit gold. Sometimes we hit gold, and it works. So, and sometimes it's just we kind of have to sit on it and let it brew a little bit, and then the crazy thought becomes a great idea later on, right? So don't worry about it, and just start thinking outside the box as to what's possible. And you do that a lot of times with funnels. The way you're putting funnels together. We use the Builderall system with the funnels. We talked about that quite a bit. Victor will maybe give you a link for that later on. On when we're creating funnels, sometimes funnels, you put them together, it looks kind of like crazy, but it starts to materialize, and all of a sudden, wow, this really works. We did that with our bootcamp webinar funnel, and we put toilet bowls and all sorts of stuff on there, but it worked. It worked. So these crazy ideas sometimes work, and sometimes the ugliest pages are the best pages. Doesn't have to be all this glitzy stuff, right? I don't know if Alan's on here today, but he does these simple, some would say ugly pages, but simple. But the ugly pages are purposely done like that, and I'm saying ugly compared to the glitzy ones, right? And I've had this happen many, many times with postcards. We've made these beautiful, glossy pictures and all sorts of stuff, postcards, and they don't pull that well, but the simple ones with just the text only pulls like crazy. So, you figure it out. So, right? Success tip number 16, you can find a way to do it. Back to what I said, and originally my sponsor quit. I found a way. Life finds a way. Your dream can find a way. Just because you can't see it now doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The concept of flight was always there. The Wright brothers simply had to discover it, right? Your dream of making $1 million, right, in this business is already out there. It's already out there. You just have to latch onto it and do the necessary tasks to make it happen. If any industry can make it happen, this is it. And do it in light speed. This business is amazing like that. I think more than any other business out there, for the amount of money you put into it, holy crap, this industry is incredible. There's nothing out there like it that can create that type of money for the type of risk and time and effort you put into it in the time frame that we do it in this business. And the concept of flight was there always, right? It was there 10,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago. It was always there, right? But we just had to find it. So these ideas and concepts have always been there. Even like back in the 1800s, they didn't know what aluminum was, and then they started to discover aluminum, and it was priceless. It was priceless because there was so limited supply. But then eventually they found that it's very abundant, right? And now it's everywhere, right? Very light metal. But just because it was not even an idea, and then it was an idea, and then they found it a little bit, right, back then, didn't mean that it was never abundant. It was always abundant. They just didn't know, right? They didn't know. Success tip number 17, you don't get rich, quote unquote. You make it welcome in your life. You don't get it. It's like catching butterflies. If you relax and make the conditions around you attractive to butterflies, guess what? They start to land on you. What do butterflies like? Right? They like fruit and things like that. And if you make it conducive to that, they come to you. But if you try to catch them, it's like chaos. They're flying all over the place. It's hard to catch them. Success is the same way, right? So when you're trying to get it, I got to make $1 million. It's so hard. When you make it welcome in your life and you do the things that are conducive to the vibrational frequency of abundance and wealth creation, and you feed it and feed it and feed it and do what's necessary and listen to positive things and hang around positive people and do the things necessary and take the action steps to increase the vibrational frequency of the amplitude of the money and the abundance and the currency of money, guess what happens? You have an increased chance of it coming to you because the money is flowing around out there, the currency of abundance is flowing around out there, and it says, oh, that looks like home to me, and it comes to you. And I'm giving a very simplistic analogy of that, but that's how it works, okay? Going on, number 18. Guess what? Everybody's strapped for cash. I don't have the money. Everybody's strapped for cash. So get used to it, right? What you need to do is provide value, and like magic, the money appears. Wow, that's a great value. I like that. You create value. You kind of be different and create value. You become a servant leader. Stop focusing on the money. Value pitch. Value pitch, that type of thing. So you give value much, much more than you're pitching to people. And when you do have something to offer, then almost like a reciprocal, what's the word? It's a reciprocal feeling that the person feels like they owe you to buy something from you because you've given them so much value. And it's subconscious when they're doing that because you're giving. And as long as it's good quality value, right, you're kind of ringing the register, the subconscious register that eventually when you come out with something that kind of hits their button, they feel like they have to buy from you, right? So it's like magic, but really it's not magic. It's science. It's the buying, selling science of value. Number 19, lack of money is never an excuse. It's never an excuse because you can always find it. You can always find it. It may be a fact, but it doesn't have to be your truth. Facts and truth are not the same thing. The fact is that you're broke right now, but the truth is it doesn't have to stay that way. The truth is, if I do what's necessary and take the appropriate action to make my dreams come true, then the truth is my dreams will happen, right? So the fact right now is I am broke. The truth is it doesn't have to stay that way, right? Facts and truth are different. So lack of money is never an excuse. You can always find the money somehow. You just have to be creative. I know a gentleman, his name was Min. He saw an opportunity. He had no money whatsoever, right? He sold his couch. He sold his TV. He got involved in his business. And I forgot how many years, 5 or 10 years later, he's made probably $5 or $10 million, right? But he saw it and he made it happen. So you might have to sell something to make it happen. Sometimes it costs money to do something, right? It's not always free. So get off the free wagon. But if you see it, do whatever it takes to make it happen because stuff is just transitory. We all have so much stuff. This stuff is not making you any money, generally, right? It's so much stuff. We all have so much stuff. Sometimes you have to get rid of some stuff and be creative. Sell it on eBay. Sell it on all these different apps that sell stuff. Come up with the money to do the thing. And when you do the thing, make it happen. So this way the thing can generate money so you can basically buy your stuff if you want to buy more stuff, right? That kind of thing. But you have to be able to take that action to do that and be creative. Borrowing money from someone, Victor has a great story of he wanted to go to a Hawaii event, didn't have $1,000. Hey, you got creative and made it happen, right? So number 20, is this where you stop? Is this where you stop? Have a different perspective of the problem and see if there's another alternative that you haven't considered. Meaning, sometimes things don't work out, but it doesn't have to be the end of the road. That's what I mean by, is this where you stop? You look at the problem, consider, did I go over it? Did I go under it? Did I go to the left? Did I go to the right? And if you determine there's absolutely, positively no way that I'm going to get through this problem, then what can I learn from it, right? Is it a learning experience? But many times you got to think outside the box, and you probably come up with a solution that you didn't consider. Sometimes you have to bring in the perspective of a different person. Don't think that you have to solve this problem all by yourself. Who do you respect that can see it from a different vantage point? Because sometimes when you're looking at the picture over and over and over again, you don't see outside the picture. You need someone else to kind of take yourself out of the picture and have them look at the entire scope of the issue, right? And then they can find a solution for you. Coming down to the home stretch, number 21 out of 28, success tips. Keep going until someone gets goosebumps. Keep doing it. When somebody gets goosebumps, right, that's the universe saying, hey, there's something here. I'm getting goosebumps. This is like, everything else is boring, boring, boring. Okay, it's nice, but when you get goosebumps, that's the universe telling you that you got something. Not saying it might be the solution, but hey, you got something going that direction. Goosebumps is a good indication that you may have something special going on. And goosebumps don't always happen, but when you have you ever had goosebumps before, right? What are goosebumps? That's the electrical impulses going from your brain, from the universe, to your brain, to your muscles, connecting everything together, and then making the hair stand up on your back. That's what goosebumps are, right? Think about the science behind goosebumps. We should probably do a whole session on that. So keep on going until somebody gets goosebumps. Number 22, a blank page just might be your biggest opportunity. What do I mean by that? Clearing your mind and starting over sometimes works. And sometimes you have to change your environment. This has helped me so much. Sometimes you have to change your environment. I know that my element is water. Water is my element. If I go on a cruise, I'll sit there and I'll sit by the water, and it calms me, and I can think very, very well when I have that going on. I know that's my element. But another element of mine is I love green. I love green and flowers and stuff. So I'll go to Central Park and I'll sit out there and I'll relax, and the wind will blow by, and it's just, being in New York with the buildings and so on, it's just so much concrete that I got to get out, right? I got to get out and go in these different environments. So changing an environment sometimes works. Sometimes authors get writer's block, and if they have to go somewhere else to get it flowing, and that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And so for Victor has probably had similar types of ways to be to getting out. He probably jumps to the piano and starts playing piano to get ideas about the internet marketing or something. He'll be able to tell you about that, but I'm just throwing an idea out there for that. 23 is leadership is powerful. I learned this from John Maxwell, and I'm a student of John Maxwell's for a long, long time, the number one leadership expert in the world, written like 110 books at this point on leadership. And so this is the leadership I look at as being a servant leader to other people. It's the example we set for people we serve, right? So if you're in the network marketing industry, what kind of leadership example are you setting for the people that are in your business? This is not just a transactional business. Transactional means you just made a sale, you're done. This is a transactional business, but it turns into a people business, because that's where the leverage takes over. The leverage aspect of the business itself is where the people come involved, and that's where you're leveraging other people's efforts, right? So if you have to dig a ditch, why would you rather dig it all yourself? You dig 1% and find other people to dig 1%, 1%, 1%, right? And yeah, I didn't make 100% of it, but I made 1%, but I didn't have to do all the work, and I got the job done. And you leverage it, right? So this is where affiliate marketing and network marketing differ drastically. And I'm not saying either one is right or wrong. Affiliate marketing is one level or two levels, right? And they have that leverage going for it. But the network marketing is where a whole different element where you're rewarding people for the team building aspect. And that's one of the reasons why with a one-time payment with no monthly, Easy One-Up is going strong after 5 years, because we are leveraging people with a one-time product, and it's going and going and going and going, right? So we become the example that we want to set for other people, right? So if you're the example of your people in your organization, do they see you attending calls? Do they see you attending Zooms? Do they see you posting on social media? And if not, guess what they're going to do? They're going to do the same thing, which is going to be nothing or very little, and then your business is going to die. Success tip 24, if you stop being curious, you're dead. Life is growth, right? Again, go from competition to creation, and you need to become a growth machine. You need to become a growth machine. Number 25, you must ask the right questions. Everybody ever hear of Socrates? The great thinker from Greece. Socrates was right. The quality of the questions gets you better answers. The quality of the questions gets you much, much better answers. So ask questions. Ask quality questions are going to get you much, much better answers. Number 26, 3 more to go. The future is 100% yours. You got to say to yourself, I got this thing. I got it. I got this thing. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. You were created to have dominion over all things. You were created to have dominion over all things. And if you're a Christian, you were created to be a child of the king. That's what they say. You were created to be a king's kid. You say dominion over all things. And you got to say, I got this thing, right? And even if you're not religious, you got to still say, I got this thing, because there ain't no other animals that think like us. We have the power of choice. We have the power of making decisions and changing our lives and deciding from point to point to point what decisions we make that are going to influence the rest of our life. We have this. We can make decisions on, do I have this pie or not have this pie? Or do I have this salad or have this salad? Or do I have this cigarette or not have this cigarette? Right? We decide these things. Do I make this web lead capture page or don't I do it? Right? All these little things are going to add up to your emerging future. Number 27, you have to be willing to spread your wings. What does that mean? Stop retreating inward. Spread your awesomeness and let the world be all the better for it. You're special, guys. You are special. You probably just forgot. You have a unique ability, as I said before in one of the other success tips, right? Don't be an introvert. This is a people business. And I had someone just the other day, I can't do this business because I have to talk to people and I'm just not a people person. I said, I understand that, but you don't have to remain that way, right? Isn't the purpose of life growth? To grow, to become a better person? Or are you going to stay under a rock the rest of your life? And some people want to stay on the rock. Sometimes that's the way it is. But stop retreating inward, go outward, because people don't bite. People are generally good people. All right, we're going to finish this puppy up. Number 28, once you take the leap, the magic happens. Sometimes leaping and building your wings on the way down, it sparks and it ignites the spark of genius. Guess what, guys? Let me give you an example. We teach the Builderall system on Tuesdays, Tactical Tuesdays, right? And people are afraid to spend $1 to get full access to the product, to be able to use it and see what happens. Because we teach this on Tuesday. We actually do stuff, right? That's what we call it Tactical Tuesday. But they still won't spend $1 to try it. I don't know what it is. Is it the money? It can't be the money, right? So you have to be able to jump and build your wings on the way down. Don't worry about it. Go for it. It's not going to devastate your life. And even if you do get the product and you decide, I want to do $1, I want to get the full thing, it's $69, I believe. Go for it, right? Go for it. Because we teach you that they have a nice affiliate program, and you can make a nice residual income as you're building your primary business. It's a great, great second income product that pays you really, really well. Victor's sponsors making multiple tens of thousands of dollars a month residually. And he doesn't do anything because the company does it all. But he just introduces people after people after people to Builderall. And it's a fantastic product. And Victor and I created a nice multiple four-figure a month business on a $1 trial. It works. So if you're joining a network marketing program, right, and you're afraid to get started, you're afraid to, oh, I got to go up to the $100 level or $500 level or the $1,000 or say, dare we say the $2,000 level, I don't know what to do. Just do it. Go for it, right? You're going to figure it out as long as you have decided that it's me that does it, right? I am the causal factor of my success or failure. I'm going to do whatever it takes, right? You have to say no more excuses. If you can't come to that decision that there are no more excuses, guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen? Easy answer. Your subconscious is going to sabotage you, and you're going to go back to your comfort zone, and you're going to live in your little bubble again, and you're going to wonder why your life doesn't change. And it happens all the time. I see it all the time. I don't have any money to join. I don't have any money to join. And I tell them, listen, you can't solve your money problems with the same thinking that created the money problem in the first place. That's an Einstein quote. I just borrowed it. Right? You can't solve that. You have to think differently than the mindset of the problem creation in the first place. So if you're not happy with your income, you can't create a better income thinking the same way that you're thinking right now. You got to grow and change and think differently and discover the flight like the Wright brothers did, or discover how to make $100,000 or $500,000 or $1 million and what to do, what's necessary to do that. But you can't do it on a $50,000 mindset or $25,000 mindset because it's not the same mindset. It's not the same vibrational frequency of thought. It's not. Do you think people like Victor and Alan and those guys that have made $20 million in sales online think the same way as people making $50,000? They don't. Totally different mindset. If you want to make that kind of money, you have to take the chance of thinking differently, and you have to do what they do. And don't stop until it happens. And, hey, maybe you don't make $20 million. Maybe you make $500,000. Life could be worse. Right? Life could be worse. So, guys, that's 28 success tips that took me a long time to learn these things. And again, I know they're very, 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 very simple. They're very, very simple, but very profound stuff.